Unsurprisingly, due to the various tropes associated with the African continent, local innovation historically fell victim to erroneous claims of foreign parentage. It seems as though anything deemed exceptional or complex from the perspective of this worldview couldn't have been due to African invention. In many ways, modern society has moved beyond that, and thus, we're rediscovering Africa in a genuine way. So today, I wanted to speak on a presumption concerning African technology that has only recently been discredited. What up, African world? It's Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and contributing to this content. The link to Patreon is in the description box below. Also, stay tuned with a word from my sponsors.
Hello, my name is Howard Dorsey. I'm 54 years old. I'm here to talk about my experience with herbal results. I was getting sick, so I went to the doctor, and they told me that my blood pressure was high, my cholesterol was borderline or high, so I was very sick. You know, sometimes I thought I was dying at some point. And I ordered a bottle of olive leaf extract. This is how the bottle comes in. And within the first probably week and a half, 2 weeks, I checked my blood pressure and it was back down to normal. It was like 120/80. My cholesterol went down to 125. You know, I definitely believe that olive leaf extract from Herbal Results saved my life. And that's real. I mean, I recommend it to everyone in my family, my friends, and we've seen a lot of results in that manner as well.
Purchase now at herbalresults.net.
Now, with this relatively new information, we can't be too absolute in thinking that this discovery was an invidious disregard of African material science. Though that was the case with many observations of African technology, this particular situation seems to be more of a gray area. However, we can be confident that the era was founded on a Eurocentric or Eurasian worldview. Individuals who witnessed this technology on the continent assumed via their paradigms that Africans simply borrowed from Europe or the Middle East. Regardless, axiomatic conclusions were drawn with little to no investigation. Thankfully, some African scholars chose to explore, and with cogent review and evidence, they've literally changed how the history is taught. So what is this African technology? Well, it has to do with the material science known as glassmaking. The material science of glassmaking is complex, and thus, according to one African scholar, Abedemi Babalola, it has been excluded in consideration for indigenous African invention below the Sahara. According to a study led by African researchers, it was the Yoruba who attained the expertise that enabled them to develop a unique recipe for glass manufacture. They mined and processed feldspathic pegmatite, cobalt, titanium, rubidium, and nickel, among others, and combined these with powdered snail shells. The ancestral Yoruba material scientists were fully aware of the elemental properties of these materials. They then transformed this recipe through precise pyrotechnology techniques to produce glass and glass beads that served as the currency for negotiating political power, economic relations, and cultural spiritual values. This quote is a remarkable summary of their findings. The archaeological evidence of the Yoruba glass-making industry dates back to the 11th century. Centered at Ile-Ife in Yorubaland, the locally produced glass beads expanded throughout West Africa. Ile-Ife even seemed to have had a monopoly in the development of this material science, contributing to the elevated status of glass. Its inclusion on the beaded crowns and staffs of Yoruba rulers is evidence of this. Previously, many scholars assumed the presence of glass in West Africa was a product of European or Middle Eastern parentage. Many scholars had thought that this industry was a secondary one, using recycled and reheated glass obtained from medieval Europe and the Islamic world. Interestingly enough, in 1987, there was one noticeable African scholar who challenged this idea, albeit on deaf ears. He proclaimed, our ancestors were material scientists. His claims were not taken seriously in the least, but over the years, his statement came to be true. An analysis of the glass in El Ife has given chemical evidence for a manufacturing site at El Ife. These studies have shown that the glass objects from archaeological sites in El Ife and in a 40-kilometer radius of the city have unusually high lime and high ulumina contents, higher than the proportions of ulumina and lime found in ancient Islamic, European, and Asian centers of glass production. This has led to the conclusion that El Ife spearheaded a glass-making technology that was unique to the Yoruba culture. El Ife has an extensive history of African innovation. The metallurgical technology witnessed in their classic sculptural traditions and their extensive ironworking fostered a great legacy for Yoruba civilization. One source captures this history well, especially in relation to how the invention of glass technology may have naturally developed in the Yoruba region. In or near El Ife, the ready availability of local raw materials, the tradition of high-temperature technology in the form of copper alloy or ironworking, and local and regional demand for glass beads combined to stimulate primary and secondary glass technologies that would continue for many centuries. Now, this is not to say that the Yoruba were the only tropical Africans who produced glass technology. Further research is necessary before any conclusive narratives. Regardless, in modern times, we may take glass for granted, but its invention was a complex endeavor. It became a part of human civilization in many ways, and Africans are now soundly credited with that tradition. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.